Hey folks, how are you today? I got an awesome pattern to tie for you today. We're doing, by far, hands down, my favorite #1 salmon fly of all time, Supperhangs. I've seen more fish caught on this fly. I've caught more fish on this fly than any other single pattern. Stay tuned, follow along. It's gonna be cool. I invented this fly about 15 years ago up on the northern peninsula, and I call it Supperhangs. It's a long story. I'm not really going to get into the details of how it's got its name, but you can let your imagination sort of run wild on that one. So we're going to get started off here today with some uni oval silver tinsel, as you can see there, size small. That's what we're going to use for our tag section. We're going to wrap our tag in here by unwrapping the thread underneath. As I said in previous videos, that creates a nice level spot for it to lay. And we're going to tie in a little bit of crystal flash. Secure that in there nice and snug. Cut that off so we got a little tail section sticking out there. Now we're going to put in some uni oval tinsel in medium. I want that rib to pop nice on this one. Tie that in like so. By holding the material you're tying in on a 45-degree angle as you wrap back down over it, it makes that thread wrap in there nice and snug to one another. Stick him in there out of the way. Now we're going to tie in some flat number 12 mylar. Now when you tie in any flat tinsel, this is just a little tip for you guys. What I like to do is I'll cut that on a 45-degree angle. So when you tie it in, you're only tying in a tip, so when you're flipping it over, you don't have as big of a bump because there's silver on one side, gold on the other, as most of you probably already know. So you want to tie whatever side you want down, you want facing you. So when you do this and you flip it over, now you have your silver tinsel showing. So we're going to wrap this down. Right down to where that tail is there. I like to snug this up a little bit as I'm bringing it back around. I'll go around on this with some pretty good tension coming back up. As you can see there, my vise is moving. I'm pulling on that pretty good. And if that body doesn't lay on there just the way you want it, just pull them a couple wraps off, secure it down again. Snip that off. We're going to come ahead a little bit. Tie in some, this is Danville's chartreuse floss. I'm going to wrap down over that tinsel a bit. So that's not going to bleed through our chartreuse floss. I'm going to bring this back up. Just about to where our returned eye comes back. Now we're going to tie in our flat mylar again. Snip that off on our 45. Tying in the gold facing us so we get the silver on the wrap. Just hold that in there because my tinsel's getting short. I don't want it to slip out of my fingers, so I just hold each one with my left index finger. Secure that down. Snip that off. Grab our rib. You want to pull fairly tight on this because there's no wool or dubbing or anything to hold that rib there, so it could potentially slide a little easier on that flat tinsel. Secure that down, pull it nice and tight, snip it off at 90 degrees, then that way there you know your material's secure in there nice and snug. Now, what we want is some speckled guinea fowl for our throat. So we'll come up and we'll pull these out so they're nice and even. Make a fairly decent throat. This material tends to thin out quite a bit at the tips. Just lay those tips, line them up. I'll get a nice even throat. We'll bring that back to roughly where our butt section would start for proportion reasons, although this fly doesn't have a butt on it. Snip that off nice and even. Go back to our chartreuse crystal flash. Tie in 3 or 4 strands. You don't want to overdo it on the crystal flash, especially on most flies in Newfoundland. I prefer mine slightly underdressed compared to most other places. Now we get our trusty moose here. Snip it off. Again, same thing, you don't want to go heavy. The straighter the hair and the blacker the hair, the more I prefer it. Just take that on, matching our length of our crystal flash. Finish off that head. Trusty whip finishing tool. That fly there, ladies and gentlemen, is one that you should definitely have in your box. It doesn't look like much. Very sparse fly. But if you fish that on a bright day, in most places in Newfoundland and Labrador, all places in Newfoundland and Labrador that I've fished already, this fly certainly works. I've caught fish on this in every river in Newfoundland and Labrador that I've fished. You should definitely tie some. You should definitely click that subscribe button because there's a whole lot more great tips and flies to come in the future. Thanks a lot, folks. Remember, it's yours to keep clean. Please practice catch and release.